Okay, mate, the next thing we want to do is start training Elvis outside more, but get him used to what we'll call man-made objects, okay? So this area that we're in right now is what I refer to as my Asian slum, okay? It's basically the graveyard of the ranch, okay? Everything that doesn't really have a specific home, tools, equipment, feeders, just basically it's a big dirty junk pile, okay? But it's the greatest thing in the world to train a horse out here because you can ride a horse around trees and bushes and rocks and things like that, and a lot of horses won't spook or get worried, but you take them around man-made environments, you know, man-made kind of deals, you know, waterers or feeders or farm utensil equipment or, you know, farm machinery, anything like that at all. You'd be amazed how these horses get really frightened. So what I did is I already had all this junk here, so I said, let's use this to our advantage. So we spread everything out. So we can actually circle. I use all these obstacles and just crap basically to circle around and train my horse. Just like we did in the tree area, I do the exact same thing. But I do it out here. And you'd be amazed how many horses are really worried out here in the beginning, but after we work them out here for 4 or 5 days, they get really broke to, you know, just things that you're gonna see on trail ride, you know, mailboxes, trash cans, vehicles, cars, etc., okay? So let's get started here, okay? So basically all I want to do is just treat these obstacles like they're trees. I want to be able to circle around them, okay? So you notice after 3 or 4 days of practicing with Elvis, you should notice that he's keeping a lot more slack in the inside rein through his body. He's actually bending around really well his body around that circle. He's starting to keep that arc like Diaz did. Now he's not bridled up like Diaz would trot around the tree or the object vertically collected as well. He's not doing that at this point. He doesn't need to either, but he is starting to maintain some arc to his body, okay? And then what I'll do, he's looking at that ball, and then I'll just go to another one. So these are some old Ritchie waterers that we've pulled out or used for spare parts or whatever we need to do with them, but I've used all of these and they're great things to circle around, okay? Some of these were used in commercials and things. But remember, go around a minimum of 3 times, maximum of 6 is a good rule of thumb. Now, if you need to, you can go ahead and do that 3/4 turn. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Okay, so I just basically wander all around this junk pile, getting my horse to circle it. Okay, it works on my steering wheel, works on my softness, getting my horse to give. Okay, I'm gonna 3/4 turn, do a roll back, and then head on out. Go on. Okay. If I'm steering him, I use a little more outside leg. If I'm getting him to soften and bend a little bit more, I use my inside leg. 3/4 turn. Now what I'll do is I'll head off somewhere else. So here's some old feeders on the ground here. Okay, so we've got every piece of crap in the world out here that we can circle around and get my horses broke to. It's one of the most valuable things Ian Francis ever taught me, is when your horse is frightened of something, use that fear of that object to get your horse broke. So here's some old bents that we didn't use on my indoor arena. Okay, so we'll circle around this. And I can tell over here, he's a little more nervous over here. Okay? Keep circling the object until he starts to relax. That's a little better. Do a little roll back, head off. Use your environment to train your horse. Can't stress that enough. You can lope off to something else. Here's some old hay feeders that I used to use. I stopped using these ones because the horses used to waste way too much hay. They'd pull all the hay out of it and these ones broke too much. So I like the new ones, the new hay feeders I got now from Balin. The hay sits in a kind of like a big chain net and they waste very little of it and they're extremely strong. Roll back, 3/4 turn, come over here. So if you feed any round bales, make sure you Have a look at the one baling cell, it's phenomenal. I replaced all these old blue ones with the baling. 3/4 turn, and then head off. That's the boy. Now I feel like he's starting to relax a little bit more. 3/4 turn, head off. So I just kind of keep my horse busy out here. Little roll back here. Little roll back here. Little roll back here. Little roll back here. Move those feet, Elvis. Come on now. You haven't got time to be being spooky, Elvis. You're too busy moving those feet. Now, if he really gets stiff, like right there, kind of felt stiff, I'll bend him around and kick him in the belly a little bit and soften him up with that inside leg. Look at an old broken wheelbarrow. Okay, this is like redneck heaven, this part of the ranch. Okay? If you're a trashy redneck watching this, you're gonna have so much fun out in your piece of trash property where you got all your burnt-out cars and crap that you've collected like me. This is a great place to train your horse. There we go. So use these objects to train your horse. And I just keep going around here until they just start getting broke. Now in the beginning they kind of wander all over the place, but as you keep practicing they get better. The horses really hate this one. They usually get pretty frightened of this ball. Roll back into it and go back the other way. Come on, he's trying to sniff that damn thing. Come on. Righto, head over somewhere else. Come on, let's go, Elvis. Roll back into it. See how he had to pick up that front end? Pick up that front end. Pick up that front end. Notice that I've always kind of got that outside rein a little loose to allow him to bend his head. Okay, when I do that 3/4 turn, I kind of pull both hands to my hip a little bit and head off. Now I really feel him kind of relaxing a little bit here. This is how you'll get a great handle on your 2-year-olds. Like right there, he's kind of stiff. I'm gonna pull him around a little bit. So get off that snaffle, please. Don't. Come here, get off that snaffle. Inside leg, bend him around here. Now, when he starts to get nice and relaxed, I might just kind of let him walk for a little bit here. And if he looks at anything or spooks, I go circle that again. So I've got this whole big area out here, and I go from here all the way down to the other end of just crap that I circle around, you know, and it just, you'd be amazed how broke your horses get when you make a training activity out of everything that they're frightened of. Okay, like this one's got a tarp. A lot of these horses don't like this tarp on the ground here. Keep him going. If he tries to anticipate and turn in, just keep going around. So he's starting to anticipate those 3/4 turns too much. So now that's when I'll start just going ahead and leaving the obstacle and go around the other way. There we go. And then you can just see how he's just wants to be a little quieter now, just a little more relaxed, okay? So use your environment to train your horse. So we'll specifically bring him over here every day to train him, to get him just really, really quiet to man-made objects. Again, just because your horse is good with what I'll call natural environment, you know, trees, bushes, rocks, etc., that doesn't mean they're not going to be frightened of this type of farm machinery, junk piles, you know, all this man-made type of stuff, mate. But you can have a ton of fun out here, do a lot of training, and really, really get your horse broke.